Hey guys, I'm here to read Pride and Prejudice to you. I have switched my book. I've decided not to read Al Capone anymore. I don't know, I just thought it was kind of boring. So now I'm gonna read Pride and Prejudice, which you guys might not like because it's kind of a girly book. But hey, I like it. Well, actually, I've never read it. I've only seen the movie, but hence why I'm reading it to you guys. And plus, I really like reading books aloud, and I just find it really fun. Okay. So I'm gonna start on chapter 1. There's this really big introduction, but it is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. However little known the feelings or views of such a man may be on his first entering a neighborhood, this truth is so well fixed on the minds of the surrounding families that he is considered as the rightful property of some one or other of their daughters. "My dear Mr. Bennet," said his lady to him one day, "have you heard that Netherfield Park is let at last?" Mr. Bennet replied that he had not. "But it is," returned she, "for Mrs. Long has just been there, and she told me all about it." Mr. Bennet made no answer. "Do you want to know who has taken it?" cried his wife impatiently. "You want to tell me, and I have no objection to hearing it." This was invitation enough. "Why, my dear, you must know Mrs. Long says that Netherfield is taken by a young man of large fortune from the north of England, that he came down on Monday in a chaise and four to see the place, and was so much delighted with it that he agreed with Mr. Morris immediately, and he is to take possession before McClellan's, and some of his servants are to be in the house by the end of the week." "What is his name?" "Bingley." "Is he married or single?" Okay, just so you know, there were some different things. 4 is a 4-wheeled closed carriage, and Michaelmas is the feast of Saint Michael, celebrated on September 29th. They have some different vocabulary in this, so they have little things that help you with it. So I'll read those to you whenever there is them. Okay. "Oh, single, my dear, to be for sure. A single man of large fortune, 4 or 5,000 a year. What a fine thing for our girls!" "How so? How can it affect them?" "My dear Mr. Bennet," replied his wife, "how can you be so tiresome? How must you know that I am thinking of his marrying one of them?" "Is that his design in settling here?" "Design? Nonsense! How can you talk so? But it is very likely that he may fall in love with one of them, and therefore you must visit him as soon as he comes." "I see no occasion for that. You and the girls may go, or you may send them by themselves, which perhaps will be better still. For as you are as handsome as any of them, Mr. Bingley might like you the best of the party." "My dear, you flatter me, but I certainly have my share of beauty. But I do not pretend to be anything extraordinary now. When a woman has 5 grown-up daughters, she ought to give over thinking of her own beauty. In such cases, a woman has not often much beauty to think of. But, my dear, you must indeed go and see Mr. Bingley when he comes into the neighborhood. It is more than I engage for, I assure you." "But consider our daughters. Think what an establishment it would be for one of them. Sir William and Lady Lucas are determined to go, merely on that account, for in general, you know, they visit no newcomers. Indeed, you must go, for it will be impossible for us to visit him, if you do not." "You are You are over scrupulous, surely. I dare say Mr. Bingley will be very glad to see you, and I will send a few lines by you to assure him of my hearty consent to his marrying whichever he chooses of the girls. Though I must throw in a good word for my little Lizzie. I desire you will do no such thing. Lizzie is not a bit better than the others, and I am sure she is not half so handsome as Jane, nor half so good-humoured as Lydia. But you are always giving her the preference. They have none of them much to recommend them, replied he. They are all silly and ignorant like other girls, but Lizzie has something more of quickness than her sisters. Mr. Bennet, how can you abuse your own children in such a way? You take delight in vexing me. You have no compassion on my poor nerves. You mistake me, my dear. I have a high respect for your nerves. They are my old friends. I have heard you mention them with consideration these 20 years at last. Ah, you do know what I suffer. But I hope that you will get over it, and live to see young men of 4,000 a year come into the neighborhood. It will be no use to us if 20 such should come, since you will not visit them. Depend upon it, my dear, that when they are 20, I will visit them all. Mr. Bennet was so odd a mixture of quick parts, sarcastic humour, reserve, and caprice, that the experience of 23 years had been insufficient to make his wife understand his character. Her mind was less difficult to develop. She was a woman of mean understanding, little information, and uncertain temper. When she was discontented, she fancied herself nervous. The business of her life was to get her daughters married. Its solace was visiting and news. Okay, and then, let's see. The quick parts was a strong intellectual ability or other natural talents. So, let's see if this chapter has another page. No, so that's all of chapter 1. So, basically, what is going on is this mom really wants to get her 4 daughters married. Okay? Everybody got that? Which I hope you did. She really, really wants this to happen. So she is going and she's trying to convince her husband to go and see this new man who's coming to the neighborhood who has tons of money, literally like tons of it, because like back in these days 4,000 a year was like, oh my god, you can go for years on end on $4,000 a year, which of course we all know now to be nothing much, but so yeah. And that's pretty much all that has happened so far. The first chapter, I think was a little bit short. But, yeah. Sorry, I'm undoing my braid from school that I had in. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah. So if you would like to start a discussion with me on this first chapter of Pride and Prejudice, then comment below. I always check comments. Not even kidding. Literally. Always. Always. So, and I'm trying to make my videos go under 10 minutes. So, if a chapter's really long, I might split it in 2. So, because reading a book takes a lot of time. So, and I try to post every day. I know that a lot of YouTubers do it, like, once a week, but since I'm reading a book, I'll try to post every day. But there might be a couple days that I won't be able to, like most Wednesdays, but I'll do it as much as I can. So, okay, bye. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Comment below and subscribe to me so that you can know when I read more of Pride and Prejudice. Okay, bye.